my juice. This is my breakfast today. What's left of it? Orange juice, cara oranges. Beautiful color.
Yesterday I talked about type 2 diabetes and how, it's kind of annoying when people say, oh, I blame it on my mom. It runs in my family. It's hereditary. And I thought I'd just kind of do a continuation of that because I got to thinking last night, and I was thinking about when I was a kid and I'd heard of the dreadful diabetes, and it put the fear in me because I'd heard, that some people have to give themselves insulin shots, and I hated needles. I still do. And so I remember fearing diabetes and being like, oh, if I eat too much sugar, I could catch the diabetes, which we know now is not the case. At least the science tells us that. Unfortunately, even dietitians and nutritionists, where I work, we have dietitians come and do workshops on diabetes. And there's, in my opinion, they're not up with the most current information. They're still preaching old information. And I can remember when my kids were little, I can remember putting the fear into them. If you eat too much sugar, you're going to catch diabetes. So the only point I wanted to make was, again, it's not a condemnation of people who don't know. We all go through our entire lives being wrong about one thing or another. That's just life. That's normal until we learn better, or until we get information from a better source, until we change our mind. And I guess I just wanted to make this video because when I was watching the video that I made yesterday, I wonder if people would watch that and think, well, who are you? You're not a doctor. You're not a dietitian. You're not, do you even have diabetes? Does anyone in your family have diabetes? What do you know about diabetes? And you're right. You would be right. However, here are what my credentials are, and I have no credentials to speak of. I simply am a person who, a little over a year and a half ago, was very, very sick, and I was desperate. I've been desperate my whole life, but I'd stumbled on to veganism, and for about a year, I kept coming back to it continually, almost on a daily basis, reading as much as I could. And I would study plant-based science, and I was also researching the paleo camp as well, because these were kind of the two diets that seemed to me were helping a lot of people. And so I was paying attention to the anecdotal evidence, the stories from people who went on either diet and this is what happened. And it was interesting because it seemed to me that both of these diets were helping different groups of people. But obviously I kept getting steered in the direction of a plant-based diet, a high carb, low fat plant-based diet, whole food plant-based diet, for many reasons. And it wasn't until, though, again, it took me about a year of this. I was scared. I had the same fears that everybody has. I was worried about my teeth, eating all that fruit. I was worried about my bones because I was going to eliminate all dairy, and where would I get my calcium? So I had to educate myself on those things in order to eliminate that fear. But again, all the science, all the anecdotal evidence, it still wasn't enough to help me take that leap of faith. In fact, I didn't take the leap until someone told me there's only one way that you'll really know, because I was really confused. And let's face it, when we get confused in this life, we're really quick to kind of throw up our hands and say, you know what, screw it, I give up. I'm just going to do whatever I want. Because you've got this guy saying this, and you've got this guy saying that, and you've got this study and this report, especially when it comes to food, right, and nutrition. You're always hearing these conflicting reports. And it's like, where does the truth lie? Where does the truth lie? And so most of us end up saying, well, as long as we eat in moderation, then we're fine. And I once heard a doctor, I can't remember who coined this, you hear it a lot in the vegan community, and that is moderation kills. Because after all, everyone's definition of moderation is different, isn't it? And so, everyone, but we like the idea of, oh yes, as long as we do everything in moderation. We like that because it gives us permission doesn't it? It gives us permission to continue with our bad habits, as long as we do it in moderation. So yeah, I was just going back and forth in these different camps, and then I heard someone finally say, you'll never know unless you try it for yourself. That's the only way you'll know. That's the only way you'll know. You're confused and you're just going to throw up your hands and give up and do whatever the hell you want? No. Try it. Try one of the diets. Try it for 30 days. Stick to it. Adhere to it completely. Because after all, how are you going to know if it works if you're not doing it properly, if you're not following it closely? Try it, follow it closely, do it for 30 days and see what happens, and then you'll know. It wasn't until I heard someone say that, and she also said, try it for 30 days. You can try anything for 30 days. And something, it was literally like this, something just switched in my brain, and it was like, aha, yes, you're right. That is the only way I'll ever know, and I can try something for 30 days. And so I did. And so that's my credentials. I'm a person who was really, really scared to go on a plant-based diet, finally got the nerve to try it, tried it, and I got better. That's my credentials. And ever since then, which again are no credentials, and ever since then, I have literally spent every single day, you can ask my husband, I have spent almost every single day continuing to study, continuing to listen, and continuing to learn as much as I can about this plant-based diet, and continuing to listen to others and what they're saying, you know, that they went on a plant-based diet and this is what happened to them. Continuing to study paleo and their findings and what they're saying, and continuing to be more and more convinced that this is the diet meant for the human species. And, you know, I hear a lot of people say, you know, especially when I tell them my story, oh, well, that's nice, but you know, everybody's different. I hear that so much. Everybody's different. In other words, it might have worked for you, but we're all different. So, you know, there's no point in me even trying a diet like that because everybody's different and, you know, it just worked for you, but doesn't mean it'll work for me. Well, again, you won't know until you try. But I'm becoming more and more convinced that this is the diet that we were meant to eat. That we were meant to eat the food that comes from the ground. That's the food that's designed for our bodies, and that's the, you know, and our bodies were designed for that food. You know, animal foods, you know, you know, if you're starving or whatever, I can see where they might come in handy. But if you're living in a time like we do, where everything is plentiful and readily available, not to everybody, I understand that, but to me it is, and to many others it is. Those are the foods that we should, they're ideal. It's what we should be eating. And so back to the diabetes thing. Yeah, I still stand by what I said yesterday. We can take personal responsibility for our health. One way we can do that is by trying a plant-based diet. Try it and see what happens.
Why is it that we give so much respect to our doctors? Not saying we shouldn't. I know a lot of doctors help a lot of people a lot of the time. But think about it. We really put our lives in their hands. We really trust them. They tell us, most times they tell us, you know, here's what's wrong with you, here's what you need to do, and we just blindly follow it. And so I'm here to encourage you, whether you have diabetes or whatever it is, don't blindly follow your doctor. Really get into it on your own and do your own research and find out if there's anything else that you can be doing, like trying a plant-based diet. And you're gonna find a lot of naysayers. As soon as you get online, you're gonna find a whole lot of people that are fighting against this plant-based movement. Why? I don't get it. I read a lot of the stuff and it's just total nonsense and BS to me, even though it sounds good to someone who hasn't spent as much time as I have reading about plant-based nutrition. It all sounds good. It all sounds convincing. However, it really is, a lot of it is just nonsense. And so you have to be ready for that. There's going to be this confliction that's going to pull you one direction and another direction. And so, yeah, it really just comes down to trying it. And so what have you got to lose? That's the other thing. If you do 30 days of eating plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, beans, what have you got to lose? I mean, really, is anything bad going to happen to you if you try that for 30 days? And I have a feeling that if you try it, it only took me a couple of weeks before I really noticed a difference. Now, for me, my main issue that drew me into that desperate place to try this crazy vegan diet was digestive complications. And I know they're very common. A lot of people have digestive complications. And I was so sick of it. I just was so sick of it. And digestive complications will improve quickly on a plant-based diet. You're just really going to give your digestive tract a break if you're giving it a lot of fruit, some nice, tender leafy greens, some cooked vegetables, some rice. These are all foods that are very easily digestible. So if that's your condition, heck yeah, try it for 30 days. You are going to feel so much better that is then going to motivate you to continue. So if you're afraid, that, well, I probably could try it for 30 days, but then I just go right back to my old habits. You're going to have a whole new ammunition pack after that 30 days, and it's going to be motivation from the wellness, from the goodness that you're going to feel inside. Feeling strong and energetic and healthy and not feeling sick and tired and whatever other symptoms that you have. So, yeah, try it for 30 days. Make sure you're doing it right. Many people do try veganism and then they quit and they say, yeah, I tried that. It didn't work for me. Yeah, I tried that. I craved meat. Yeah, I tried that. I was hungry all the time. Yeah, I tried that. I fell off the wagon. And usually it's because you're doing it wrong. And you might say, well, it's a vegan diet. How do you do it right or how do you do it wrong? I feel like I'm going to sneeze. And the answer is that you do it wrong by not eating enough. So then you get hungry, you have cravings for, you think it's for meat or you think it's for whatever, junk food or whatever it is, but honestly it's just your body's hungry. The cells of your body's made of trillions of cells, and those cells need fuel and they need nutrients. And so when those stores are depleted, those cells send a message to your brain to let you know, hey, we're hungry. We're really, really hungry. And so it's just hunger. So you think you have cravings for, red meat or whatever. And I honestly believe it's simply hunger. And you remember that you really, really love red meat. And so that sounds really good. But it's really just hunger. And so if you go on a plant-based diet,
Anyway, I just got a phone call. So if you go on a plant-based diet, you've got to eat a lot of food. So if you've been watching my daily food journals, you know that I eat large portions. I don't know if you do know that. It's really, I know that when I watch my videos, when I watch other vegan YouTubers, I know that they're eating a ton of food there, but it doesn't always look like a ton of food. We don't eat out of plates or cereal dishes. We eat out of serving dishes, big serving platters and dishes, because we know we have to eat more food in order to meet our caloric needs. So you need to eat a lot of food, which means, yes, you do need to start cooking and preparing your food. You need to be prepared. You need to eat frequently throughout the day. And so whatever this means for you, it's going to mean something different for everybody in terms of how you prepare for that and what your processes and your procedures are, depending on your circumstances. So let's say you work outside all day. Maybe you're going to do wraps. You're going to take a big tortilla and throw in all the rice and the beans and the vegetables, or you're going to do hummus and all your favorite vegetables and some rice, or maybe guacamole and all your favorite vegetables and rice, and wrap those up and make a couple of those. Make, a couple days worth on a Sunday night. So you've got, it's not that much more work. I had somebody say, yeah, I don't believe you. I think being on a plant-based diet would be a lot more work. Yeah, I guess if all you ever do is order out, it's not that much more work. It really isn't. I can get dinner on the table in as long as it takes me to put on a pot of rice. I mean, it's not a lot of work. Breakfast, this took me, less than 5 minutes. I had to peel these oranges and put them through the juicer. How is that? I bet that's faster than cooking up toast and eggs. That's fast too, but it's not that much more work. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna wrap this up. So I did miss Zumba last night. I was driving home from work and my car just went and it just stopped running. I just got a Prius a couple months ago, and in my old car I had a Honda Civic, and there was this little light, like a little orange gas tank, that would turn on when I was low on gas. Well, in my Prius, there's this bar of like vertical dashes for your fuel tank, and when it's full, the dashes go all the way to the top, and as the tank empties, you'll get down to one little tiny little dash, tiny little dot, and then when it gets low, that little dash blinks, but it doesn't turn orange. And I never even see it. In fact, I didn't see it. And my daughter told me on Sunday. Yesterday was Tuesday. She told me on Sunday that because she had borrowed the car, that my tank was low, and I forgot to get gas. So it's the first time I've ever ran out of gas. I'm driving down the road and my car just stopped. I pulled over and I actually broke down right by one of my best friend's house. So I pulled into her driveway, but it was dark and her driveway is like a mile long through the forest. So I sat there and called Dwayne, and I couldn't, my call wouldn't go through because of where I was at. So I started hiking up this driveway and I had a blanket. I didn't even have a coat. And so I'm singing some kind of song because there's bears everywhere where we live. And I'm just like singing at the top of my lungs. And I've got my phone with the flashlight on, which isn't that bright, it turns out, at night in the forest. But it was better than nothing. And I'm singing to the bears. Hello, bears. I'm coming down the driveway. Please don't kill me. And because, you know, if you make a lot of noise, hopefully they'll just avoid you. So anyway, I got about halfway up the driveway when Dwayne calls me because my call went through. Because as I got closer to her house, the reception got better. And he came out and he brought a tank of gas and he rescued me. So anyway, I miss Zumba. So I was really disappointed about that. I was looking forward to it all day long. So now I get to look forward to it on Thursday, and I'll be carbing up today. Today's Wednesday, and I'll be carbing up tomorrow as well. I'm looking forward to my Zumba. All right, I'll report back for lunch.
Okay, here is my lunch, another burrito bowl. You would think I would get tired of these, but I don't. And here is my dinner. This is a bulgur with some mixed greens, some cranberries and nuts, some pepitos, and I don't know what else was in that. Dwayne made this tonight and it was really, really good. And then we put some of this blueberry balsamic vinegar on it, which was also really, really tasty. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching.